What's up, BookTube? Back with another weekly update. The third one of January. Can you already believe we're just a week out of being done with January? Hard to believe. Overall, this has been a great reading month for me. Even though I've had some stinkers and then I've had some amazing books that I've finished so far in January, I still, and ones I'm still actually on that I'm really enjoying, that I'm looking forward to maybe even finishing by the end of this month, or maybe some books that maybe will lead over into February. But even though every book that I've read in January has not been like 5 out of 5 stars for me, some of them's been somewhat stinkers. But that being said, I've learned so much about myself in this month, basically. I know what type of fantasy reader, what type of sci-fi reader, what type of a horror reader I am now, what I enjoy, what I don't enjoy. And I feel like this month has taught me a lot about what I'm going to go for in the future and what I'm going to stray away from in the future as well. Used to, I would try out more books. Now I'm looking more towards being less adventurous and just really just trying to find books that I personally believe that I will enjoy. And been a little hit or miss so far in January. But again, no regrets. No regrets. So let's start with the first book that I finished this week, Piranesi. Now, what was my overall take of it? It was a 3 out of 5. It's a 3 out of 5. I'm not going to hate on it too much because I hated on it really bad last month. I think y'all pretty much, if y'all have watched that video, you probably know where I specifically stand on this book. I personally looked at it as being not a very good mystery book, not a very good fantasy book. Got very repetitive. I did not enjoy my time here. I did not enjoy the characters here. I personally believe that overall, its plot was lacking. Its plot was seriously lacking. The strength of its premise just was not there. It just wasn't there. I didn't enjoy it personally. As far as the cohesion of the story goes, I thought it did a fairly good job with it. But, you know, still nothing to write home about. Didn't enjoy it, even though I did feel like, you know, Susanna Clarke did kind of piece it together the best she possibly could. You know, it didn't have the payoff that I wanted. I guess that's where I rate it bad in plot. I feel like it didn't have that payoff that I was seeking. I was hoping that I get to the very end of it and it would blow me away, even though it hadn't blown me away up to that point. Unfortunately, I actually think that the ending was worse than the rest of it. I think it made me count it less overall. As far as like the reading investment that I had with this book, it's a book I'm already forgetting. It didn't have any powerful moments. It didn't have any lasting moments for me. And as far as like characters are concerned, Piranesi overall I thought was a pretty good character. Really the only interesting character. The other ones, you know, they were like side characters of side characters in my personal view, is the way I looked. I felt like they lacked the depth. They lacked that internal conflict that maybe Piranesi had, but the other ones seemed not to. They were pretty either really great, you know, good guys, or really horrible bad guys. Really wasn't an in-between there. As far as relationships and dynamics, I kind of felt like some of it was forced. Now, as far as the pacing is concerned, chapter length was okay. I didn't mind that. As far as the scene-by-scene flow of it, I mean, I thought it could get choppy and boring at parts. I really did. I felt like some scenes maybe could have been switched around a little bit more. I feel like the structure needed a little bit of work. That's where I would rate it kind of bad on. As far as cliffhangers, I didn't see one. I personally actually didn't see one. Now, as dialogue is concerned, I really actually didn't mind the dialogue in it. I thought, it did kind of have some hints of what it would be at the future. I kind of enjoyed the dialogue between the two characters. It felt like an adult talking to a child, though, the whole time. And that's something that was really... It strained on me the more I went in it, because I'm like, Piranesi isn't growing as a character. And that actually really bothered me. Now, as far as, I don't know, on the nose things, really not a lot there. A lot of overuse of filler words, a lot of repetition, in my personal opinion. I thought it was bad in that regard. Now, as far as the prose are concerned, I think Susanna Clarke overall is a really great writer. I don't really have any problem with her. I thought she had her own voice, her own tone. I thought her imagery could be a little bit better. I thought a lot of the, you got this magical place, but I kind of felt like it got a little repetitive with the scenes a little bit. So overall, I just personally gave this book a 3 out of 5. I kind of personally feel like I'm being kind of kind to give it that 3 out of 5. Because, I'll be honest, this to me, if I wasn't feeling generous, would be more like a 2.5 stars. And that's still high for me on this one. I just did not enjoy my time with this book. Now, as far as our next book, Polar Opposite. This is a 5-star book. This is a 5-star book all the way down. Bernard Cornwell, you have got a fan in me. The Winter King is everything I wanted and more. Now, I actually just finished this book today. And as far as how I feel about the overall of it, how it stuck with me, these characters, there's a lot of characters in this book. A lot of characters. But there is so many that has just stuck with me. And I think will stick with me for the rest of my life when it comes to things. Like when I'm thinking of books, I'm now comparing these characters to other characters and seeing where they rank. I think Durfel overall was an amazing protagonist. I thought Arthur in this, I kind of went a little bit back and forth on him. I didn't love him, but I didn't hate him. But I thought that was kind of the brilliant part about it. He's a complicated guy. And that's what that was supposed to be. He was supposed to be complicated. As far as the villains are concerned in this, or the ones that you're not supposed to like, maybe 1 or 2, I would say, could have added a little bit more depth to it. But I think overall, I think we got some pretty heavy-hitting villains here that really push the plot forward. Now, as far as, like strength of the premises, like I've said, even with Piranesi, I feel like Bernard Cornwell had a firm structure about what he wanted to do, and he never strayed from it. Every chapter was building upon the last. Every chapter and every conversation that was going on in these chapters built upon something. It wasn't just useless. I feel like the plot moved at a steady pace. There was a huge payoff at the end, even though I will say the last battle of it was where I was leading more towards, is it a 4-star, or 4.5 star, or is it a 5-star? I've leaned all day back and forth. I ended up, and I just got to thinking about it, and just sitting down and just dwelling on how I enjoy this book. To me personally, a 5-star book is something that you feel like will stick with you, something that gets you excited to read the next book. And this gave this to me. A 4-star, you can kind of put away and you can think about it and be like, I'll go back to it eventually. But this makes me want to read more Bernard Cornwell. In fact, I'm almost tempted to read multiple series of his, and this just be the Bernard Cornwell channel. That's how much I actually enjoy his reads. He's become one of my favorite authors from this book alone. But now, as far as the emotional payoff, this had some sad moments. It had some sad moments. It had some touching moments. It had some moments that was quiet moments, but moments that really stuck with you. Now, was there moments that I kind of felt like resonated the wrong way with me? I mean, I think this is where some characters were better than others. Some moments with those characters was maybe a little bit Game of Thrones-ish, a little too much. Maybe some things could have been left out on that. But as far as, overall character-wise, I feel like it had even strong side characters. Because when those characters popped up, and this is later on in the book, and this is a pretty long book. And when they popped up later in that book, I knew immediately who they were. I didn't have to go back and reread or try to figure out, where did this person come from? I knew it immediately, even if it was somebody that we had just came across briefly at an earlier date. But overall, characters absolutely superb. As far as the pacing, like I said, pacing was good. I thought maybe the ending could have been a little bit better with the pacing, with the character work, with the just overall description of what was taking place on screen. Sometimes I couldn't get it visually in my mind, and this was really mainly the reason why I was thinking, is this a 4.5 or a 5-star book? Because of that last bit, I really could not get the image in my mind. I kind of felt like it was one of those Hail Mary kind of like situations that really bothered me. Snatching victory out of the jaws of defeat. You know how those books goes. I kind of felt like it was that. Now, as far as leaving us on a cliffhanger, overall, yes, because this is the first book in, I think it's a 3-book series or a 5-book series. I don't even know. But it did leave us on a cliffhanger a little bit, but it did finish the book in total, I felt like. But it left us, wondering what's going to happen next on this. So overall, I mean, as far as, this isn't one of those thought cage moments of Gwynne's when it comes to dialogue. But there was some moments that I felt like certain things were repeated over and over and over again. One of them, like I said, took place in that final few pages in the battle scenes. I felt like it just kept repeating over. It was a word that just kept going over and over, and it seemed like every character on the enemy side was repeating it, and it was towards Guinevere, and I was just like, all right, mix it up a little bit. Besides that, I really didn't notice anything that was off. It was just at that very end that I kind of struggled with that. Now, as far as prose is concerned, the man's brilliant. I mean, I'm not going to even talk about it. The man knows how to use words. Man knows how to use words. He's a great author. Great author. So overall, I ended up giving this a 5-star. I look forward to doing more reviews on this. I really would like to, once I get this series completed, to do an overall breakdown of this series. That's how much I actually enjoyed the book. And I cannot see the next book me hating it or loving it any less. Or loving it any more. I really think very highly of this book. But all right, let's get on to the next one. So, The Hunger of the Gods. All right, so The Hunger of the Gods, I'm now about halfway through this. I'm actually enjoying this one a lot more than I enjoyed the first one at this stage. I thought the first one really ended it was superb at the very end. Though I will say my favorite character, Orca, seems like so far has taken a back seat to like Varg and really some other characters that maybe I'm not as intrigued in. But I still think the overall enjoyment of, exploring the world and these different factions in this, I feel like I'm getting my money's worth out of this book. I really do. I feel like I'm getting there. The chapters move along really smoothly. I haven't got to that part where I'm just like, ugh, like let's move forward in this story. I've enjoyed it so far. So this looks like it's not going to be a 5 out of 5. It's definitely not going to be a 5 out of 5. But I could see rating it as something between, so far, and this is where I'm at about halfway point, like 3.5 to 4-star book. I'm leaning more towards a 4-star. I feel like I would be doing it a disservice if I gave it a 3.5, because there is some characters in here that I remember, some scenes I remember in here. It just hasn't hit that heavy kind of like what the first book has. I say I enjoyed this book more, but now that I think about it, I'm like, that first book has some really heavy moments early on, even though I didn't enjoy it overall. It was more the dialogue that I had a problem with. I kind of, the whole Viking speech thing, it's like somebody hitting their head and kind of being a little out of it, and speaking kind of like a really, really young child. Kind of that speech kind of drove me crazy in the first one. I've got, I guess, used to it in the second one, but that was what I guess I hated from the first one. But the first one did have some really powerful moments. I haven't hit that powerful moment in this second book so far, so I don't know. Maybe I'm kind of iffy on it the more I get to thinking about it as well. Let's hope that it has the ending that the first book has. But overall, I am enjoying my time with it. Now, as far as this, Last Argument of Kings, now of Joe Abercrombie. Now, I started this book about 2 months ago, and then I stopped reading it. And I got about 20% through with this book. I am now probably about 60, like I picked it up this week, and I have flown through it. I have enjoyed my time with this book. I will say the first and the third are definitely my favorites. The second one was kind of I didn't enjoy it too much. I didn't like some of the POV characters in it. But the third one, I've enjoyed my time. I would even dare say maybe this is my favorite book of the series so far. Like I said, I'm only about 60% through with this book, but I'm really enjoying my time with it. This is where I feel like Joe Abercrombie really, like the voice of him really just stands out. This is where he makes his money, is in characters like this. This is what I wanted and expected from the Devils that I never got. I love it. This is a series that I feel like not only I could read through again, but I could also listen to the audible versions of as well, which also are incredibly, incredibly brilliant. So I'm enjoying my time with Joe Abercrombie's The Last Argument of Kings. I'm hoping, and I would be shocked if I'm not finished with this book by the end of the month, as fast as what I'm reading it, because I am flying through this book so far. Like, I don't know why I even put it down. It wasn't, if I remember correctly, it wasn't something I was hating on it. It was just something that other books got in the way. I read most of my books on Kindle, so like when they have like, an Kindle Unlimited version of things, I try to fill my list of books and then get done with some of the ones that I'm done reading, so that I can get more in it, because I have a full library, a very full library. So this is one that I have a feeling I'll probably be able to take out of my library by the end of this week. At least that's what I'm hoping. But overall, guys, let me know how y'all's reading has gone so far in this third week of January. Like I said, I've had some ups and downs so far this month, but I feel like I've grown as a reader. I feel like I'm now able to plan books out and ideas out, even though, and I've found a love of future books that I'm going to do. I'm still on the fence when it comes to what specific books I will be reading in February. Every time I think I've got a clear list, something pushes it back and says, no, we kind of want this instead. So I don't know if it being February and not really having a lot of days in February, if I want to go through like one of the really heavy hitter long books, or if I want to take it kind of easy with maybe smaller reads, maybe a mystery book. That's kind of what I'm maybe leaning on to, maybe like a mystery book, a Malfi book, something along those to kind of mix together with maybe one that is left over from my January reads, which I'm hoping to at least get 5 books done in January. That's my goal for January, and at least 3 books done in February. I think that's a pretty hefty goal in January. I mean, in February is 3 books. I got a lot to do in February, so I kind of feel like I don't have all the time in the world to read. Kids' birthdays, wife's birthdays, Valentine's Day, all kinds of things. You get it. But overall, guys, let me know what y'all think about the books that I've reviewed on here. Let me know what y'all's take on it. Like, what is your take on Piranesi? What is your take on Last Argument of Kings? Do you believe that this is like one of the better books of the series? What do you think of The Winter King? If y'all have read it, let me know. I would love to talk with people who are interested in this book. I would love to talk with anybody who's interested in this. Please leave a comment down below. I love talking to fellow readers. I love the conversation of it. That's why I'm here on YouTube, is for the conversation alone. Not looking to get famous or rich, just looking to have a conversation and looking to have fun with like-minded people. But overall, guys, let me know what y'all think, and y'all take care.